Hello, everyone. I'm Kuber, your host for today. Just want to check a quick, do a quick sound check. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Just give me a thumbs up. Just let me know if you can. And we already have our star of the show today. He's waiting on the sidelines. He's giving me those smiles already. But before we obviously start, very quickly, just want to check if you can hear me all right, you can see me all right, so that we can go. Okay, perfect. I can see lots of yes, super, yes, 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 excellent. So, what is the purpose of the show today? First of all, my name is Kuber. For some of the people who do not know, or rather, a lot of people who do not know, इस तरह की हरकतें मैं करता रहता हूँ, and इस तरह की गंदी आदतें मुझे हैं. So I keep sort of making people uncomfortable. Like I have, wanted to make Sheetanshu uncomfortable, sort of put him on the spot, and he's always hiding behind the videos. He said, okay, now this is the time to bring him on, bring him right in front of people, put him on the spot, and ask him all those questions as to what makes him tick. So bear with me if I ask some silly questions. Bear with me if I ask some weird questions, because today is not about question and answers about immigration. Today is not about talking what is happening with the CRS course. Today is not about trying to figure out what happens if you cannot get your reference letters. Today is not about trying to figure out what are the new restrictions and exemptions that have been in place from the Canadian government. None of that. Okay. Today is only about your favorite YouTube channel, Dream Abroad, and its founder, creator, Sheetanshu Tiwari. So let me bring him on. He's already there. Okay. Sheetanshu, there you are. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Kuber?
Excellent. So my voice is clear. Your voice, at least I can hear you clear. I'm not sure if everybody else can hear you clearly. And let's just quickly ask if everybody. Yes, of course, I can see everybody else. Sheetanshu, how is it being on this in a spotlight today for a change?
It's actually very...
No, you're actually, hold on. You're always in a spotlight because you're presenting such awesome and wonderful videos all the time. But how is it like this time trying to answer questions in a different way altogether?
It's actually different. I have to be frank, I've never come live. It's different. I don't have an Instagram account, so I don't do Insta Live. Yes, I do. I am there on the Facebook. So yeah, it's good to be live.
Okay. I'm kind of let's then quickly dive in, because I can see lots and lots of comments coming already. I'm going to just change this a bit. Yeah, okay, this looks much better. Now, tell me, what made you think of this YouTube channel? I mean, where did it start? Why did it start? How come this YouTube happened with you? I mean, were you always a YouTuber, as they call themselves now?
That's a good question. The thing is that yes, I can say that I was always a wannabe YouTuber. Okay. I remember one Xiaomi Mi 4, the first phone which came in India. I think it was in 2014, 15, something like that. Okay. I did an unboxing video of it, the first Hindi unboxing video, which I never uploaded. That's something
you never put it up.
Never put it up because I thought that it's not worth it. How am I gonna get more mobile phones to unbox things like that? I never put it up. But the thing is that when I got my PR to move to Canada, I moved to Canada in 2017. My friends actually kept asking me similar questions every time. What's the process? How to do this? How to do that? And I was like, every time I was like, okay, if there's so many people who are asking me, obviously, I have a personal Facebook account as well. It's a different Facebook account from what I use to manage my Facebook group. That Facebook, my personal Facebook account, I was getting tons of messages, and people were literally lined up. Like my friends were lined up because of the time difference between India and Canada. So I used to tell them, okay, I'll talk to you over the weekend. And then I heard that if there are so many people in my friend list who want to ask these questions, and obviously these questions are very general questions.
Yeah.
So I thought there might be some people out there who actually want to know this process. Maybe it's not clear. It is all there in their websites, but nowadays things are changing. People don't want to go onto the websites and do. Within 10 minutes you can get all that information. What is better than that?
So well, I agree with you on that one, that nobody wants to sort of research anymore. But before we continue, I can see some comments and they're saying that your voice is cracking. Guys, just check with me. I mean, just give me a sound check again. Can you? I mean, is Sheetanshu's voice still cracking and echoing? Because I have now put on my headphones, just trying to avoid the echo.
Headphones.
I'm sorry.
If you want, I can also put on the headphones.
Yeah, I mean, if you do, I mean, that would just sort of make sure that there is no more echo.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better? Sounding better now?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're always sounding better. You have such a nice voice, like, you know, one of Amitabh Bachchan kind of voice, you know, that kind of a thing. Okay, so this is an interesting start of your YouTube journey. And when did Canadian immigration happen for you? I mean, when did Canada become an objective, a destination in mind, or something which you wanted to do?
So, to be very frank with you, Canada was my second priority.
Second priority, okay.
For Australia initially.
Okay.
I was in UK for 1 year, from 2015 to 16, and I was quite fascinated with the Western lifestyle. To be very frank, there's no that kind of a thing for me. That I wanted good lifestyle, good day. I was quite fascinated with the Western lifestyle, and I was like, no, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy living here. When I was in UK, I had a lot of trips to Europe, and then I kind of enjoyed that. So I was like, okay, fine. But that point of time, it was more of 1 year visa. You need to get the tier 2 visa or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, you have to go to UK for 1 year, and then you have to come back. You have to serve the 1 year of cooling period. I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to settle somewhere permanently and then live my life. Because obviously at that point of time I was single and I was hoping to get married sometime soon.
But that's the beauty. The minute you sort of became a Canadian permanent resident, I'm sure getting married wasn't a big problem after that.
No, so thankfully I met my now who's my wife. I met her before coming to Canada.
Okay.
So that thing continued. Okay. So yes, after that I came back to India. I thought, okay, I should go for. There were only two options: Australia, Canada. I discussed with someone, my sister, who was actually working as an IELTS teacher. So I discussed with her. She said Australia. I said, okay, fine. No choice, Australia, good weather. I should go for Australia. I went for Australia. I gave the IELTS exam. Sorry, I think it's a disconnect. Okay. Sorry for that.
No, it's all right. Go for it.
So I, went for the IELTS exam. Then, when I actually applied for it, I actually went through a consultancy, and I was charged a hell lot of money for that.
Wow.
Then, I think in Australia it is something like that. On the 1st of July, they changed their rules. So I actually came back to them after registering with the consultancy. I came back to them saying that this is my this is my IELTS score. They said, no, now you're not eligible anymore because this thing has changed. Now you need more points. You need 8 bands in IELTS. I was like, are you serious? I know my capabilities. I'm not going to store that ever. So, you know your capabilities somewhere, when you're struggling to get 7 all somewhere, and then somebody tells you that, get 8 in everywhere, then you know that, it will be a long streak. And so I thought, okay, fine. Somebody told me about Canada Express Entry. They said, you know what, like I was in, close contact with some of my friends who were also trying to move to these countries. So somebody told me, okay, bhai, tujhe pata hai wo Canada Express Entry khulne wala. That was like 2016 end.
Okay.
I was like, what is Express Entry and what is this? He was like, no, अरे मैंने पता किया यार, मैं तो तैयारी कर रहा हूँ, तू भी तैयारी कर ले. I was like, okay, cool. क्या चाहिए होता है? तो he was like, okay, कुछ नहीं, पहले तो IELTS चाहिए. तो मैंने कहा IELTS स्कोर मेरे पास है अभी का. तो he was like, okay, fine, you can use the same IELTS score. So I don't want to name the consultancy again, but I went to a consultant. Straight away, I just asked them, what's the process for Canada. So process तो पूछा भी नहीं detail में, and I just asked कि हो जाएगा कि नहीं हो पाएगा, like very bluntly. And so she said that she was a very generous lady, and she said she calculated something on her mobile and she told me, हाँ हो जाएगा, आपका 432 बन रहा है, आपका हो जाएगा. कहीं ये तो फेडरल आ जाएगा, ओंटारियो से आ जाएगा. I was like, कुछ कुछ बोल रही है, ओंटारियो से आ जाएगा, जो भी आना होगा आ जाएगा. I'm safe. I'm going to Canada very soon. I said, fine. I had my checkbook with me. I just, just signed that check of 75,000. I gave it instantly.
Okay.
And then I was happy. I was like, Canada जा भाई. दोस्तों को बता दिया कि यार अब तो कनाडा का हो रहा है सीन, तो मैं बन जाऊंगा, अब कैनेडियन जाऊंगा बहुत जल्दी.
Okay, now hold on. Let me stop you there for a minute and ask you this. That okay, you made up your mind to go to Canada, which is splendid, because thankfully you're here now, and we can look you up and ask you so many different things. But at that point of time, when you had decided Canada to be your objective, your destination, somewhere where you need to go and settle down, did you actually do any kind of research about what Canada is all about? I mean, yeah, everybody out in the world thinks Canada is a winter frozen land. Like it's like that one of the Disney movies, Frozen, right? That everything is frozen. There is only ice and snow everywhere, and people assume and people sort of imagine that in winters everything comes to a standstill. Nobody can move. There is a snowstorm. There is like snow. I mean, neck deep. And so, did you also think of Canada in a similar fashion, or did you do some research? Did you figure out what it is going to be like?
Yes, basically, I had some friends here. Before that, I talked to them, and they were like, "क्या ऐसा नहीं होता है जितना जैसा people think about." वैसा नहीं है. It is a cold country. It's a cold place, and then 3-4 months you can expect snow, but there's a good summer also here, which I never knew actually. कि कनाडा में समर भी होती है.
कनाडा में समर भी होते हैं. Okay.
So, but yes, I researched about it a bit. But then more it was like, if I can, there's two only options. There's one option is Australia, second option is Canada.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get to Australia, then let's go to Canada. I was very ignorant at that point of time, I must say. And yes, and that is what I teach people now, that you should make your choices, much more with a lot more research, which they actually do with watching our videos. So yeah, people are much more smart than what I was.
Well, on that, I will show everybody something that you have done, and you also made this for people, and you've tried to tell them that they should not hate Canada. This was I'm not sure how clear. I can see my screen flickering. I'm not sure it's happening because of the video call, but this was the video that Sheetanshu made. Okay, I'm just going to stop this because it's flickering too much. I'm not sure if is it flickering on your screen as well, guys? But okay, yes. So this was the video that Sheetanshu, can you see the screen flickering also?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. So this was the video that Sheetanshu made very recently, which was about don't hate Canada after watching this video. And what, did you use a drone in this video, Sheetanshu?
Yes, it was a drone shot.
It was a drone shot. Was it your own? I mean, did you get into this drone photography only after becoming a YouTuber, or was this always something you wanted to do?
Only after becoming a YouTuber. And there's something very funny about this drone thing as well. When I was actually getting married, I planned with my wife that I will shoot some videos in Europe.
Yeah.
So I actually got my cousin to get a drone from US. He was coming from US that in my marriage.
Yeah.
I got that drone. I took it with me to Europe. Obviously, I didn't get time to shoot drone videos, stuff like that. I came back to Canada. I was like, okay, I will use it after after these winters are over. I'm talking about 2019 winters.
Okay.
And then what happened was 2019, 1st of June, they started this process of licensing drones. So you have to get a license for if you wanted to fly a drone for more than 250 grams.
Correct.
So I was too lazy to get a license, but yes, this year, starting of this year, I got the license. I'm flying it.
But I think there is a new drone as well in the market, right? Which is for 249 grams, just about breaking that sort of that, rather using that loophole.
Yeah, that's a new DJI drone.
Okay, so this particular video that you did, was this the first time you had shot using a drone, or had you done something before as well?
I keep doing it. I love doing it actually. I keep doing it like almost every day in the evening. The problem with these drones is that they have a very short battery life.
Okay.
One has got a battery life of just around 15 minutes. I've got a spare battery, but still it's just 15 minutes.
Okay.
You have to take multiple takes. and obviously that kind of a shot, it takes maybe 1 in 100 shots that you need to do to get that kind of a shot. And this
No, no.
video, and this video, to be very frank, this video was not shot in one day. This video was shot in 2 different storms.
Okay, two
Uh,
different storms. Okay, so then we are only lucky that we had two storms for you to get this coverage.
yes, this year I should definitely say that this year it was it was not at all cold this year.
But it wasn't, but at least the storms did happen and you managed to
Oh,
get
yeah.
that footage and you basically managed to scare a lot of people and you still said, don't hate Canada, you know, I mean,
You have to
this
keep
is,
that catchy title, somewhere. This is not a clickbait, minded. This is not a clickbait.
no, I'm not saying it's a clickbait. What I'm just saying is that this is something what people actually think, right? This is what Canada is. They think this is what it is going to be throughout the year, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but this was a good one. So what do you think now? I mean, you have let me open up another of your, hold on there. Where do we go? Yeah. So what do you think about this? I mean, you have mashallah, a very, very nicely done and very nicely created YouTube channel. We have nearly 200 some videos that you have been able to post. How do you manage to sort of, generate out so much of content on such a regular basis?
To be frank with you, it is not easy. And I keep asking my my audience, what do you want to see? So they like just before this lockdown, I had planned some videos that I would do outside, and those videos were quite interesting. But what happened was that it was not, my plans already got screwed up because I couldn't go out. So I asked my my audience in my Facebook group that what do you want to see. Now I'm making those videos what the people want to see. So it's always about the audience, what they want to see. It might be 5 people who are saying that, and you think that there are many people thinking about that. But
Yeah.
you have to trust your instincts, and you need to do a lot of research before making a video.
It's a lot of hard work, right? I mean, for example, me, right? I mean, I love doing live streaming because this does not need to do any kind of editing, right? If I have to create a video, it is like I have to first prepare a script, then do a lot of research, then actually shoot the video, and sometimes I do not know how much time you take because I am a very clumsy one, right? So for me, I will have to say the same line 10 times to get it right. So for example, I'm just on top of my head. If I'm trying to say, okay, I'm doing a video on how to get reference letters from your employer, right? So I will say, so in order to get your reference letter, you need to get from your employer, and I'm like stuck. So my daughter sometimes who's sitting, she said you should start making blooper videos because your content is more blooper versus actual quality content. So sometimes you have to actually shoot for an hour and a half, 2 hours to get only a 10-minute video out of it. Does this happen with you, or I'm the only
It happens with all of us, and trust me, we basically have that, like Hindi is our mother tongue,
Yeah,
fine. So English is not our first language.
correct.
And I've met with the Canadian YouTubers who do the same thing. They say the same thing to me that, okay, oh no, don't do it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. It happens with everybody. It's not just the English thing, but yes, it is not. We're not. Of course, about me, I'm not that camera friendly person. So
You're
that's
not. I
I'm
mean,
not.
after having done so many videos, you still think you're not a camera friendly person?
No, I'm still very shy of the camera. I made an Instagram account, and then I deleted it because I don't click pictures of myself. So I don't think that I get enough pictures to post over there.
Well, again, but let's say when you have come across an idea, so you follow the same thing. You prepare a script, then you research, then you do record a video, and then you do all kinds of editing.
Yes, so sometimes I feel a lot lazy to come in front of the camera. So then my white sketchboard videos come handy,
Okay.
because those videos are actually very informational, and it's a very good way of presenting what you want to present. Because at the same time, when I'm speaking something, you're able to read that. And with I try to kind of do some kind of creativity in that as well. Now I get less time to do it. In my earlier videos, I used to do a lot of creative stuff, stuff moving from here to there. So it kinds of some kind of animation. It kinds of creates the audience interest in what we are trying to do.
Well, obviously, I mean, but at the same time, I think you should also make one video where you actually telling people how you make a video, so that way at least they'll be more informed exactly what is the secret behind Shitanshu's success of making such amazing videos, right?
No, not really a success, but it's been 2 years. But it's good that I'm going. The toughest thing of doing all of this is that finding good topics that actually should help the
That
audience.
that is actually one of the most difficult ones, isn't finding the right kind of topic.
To be very frank, this is actually very niche kind of an area where what we're targeting.
Yeah.
This is a very niche area. You can think of it like this is a very wide area, but actually it's a very niche area. Somebody who's made a YouTube channel, who's a technical YouTube channel, they can make videos on tons of things. Maybe technical things, maybe mobile unboxing, maybe something to do with the fridge or the geyser, anything. But this is a,
Yeah.
this is a very niche area which we're trying to focus. So
So okay, all right. So your journey to Canada has been by God's grace quite successful, and you're now. So how are you? So right now you're also facing the lockdown with this COVID scenario.
yes, obviously we are all stuck, and this is the new normal.
But when you say we're all stuck, I mean, didn't we always wish for this? We have extended weekends, long weekends. We can stay at home and work, and don't have to really go back to office or get up in the morning and rush to the office. Didn't we always want this kind of a thing?
Yes, always. That's what I say to people that this is what you always wanted. So the first week was all about, like, it's been 4 weeks since we're experiencing this lockdown in Canada. The first week was all about, okay, what this is the new normal. Wow, I mean, we never knew that how long this is going to extend. So it was like, okay, let's enjoy this. No, let's watch movies until late at night and stuff like that. Next week it was like, okay, watched enough of movies for the first week. Let's create some videos and try to increase my productivity. Third week it was like, okay, this is going to long last. So it's better that we kind of maintain a schedule and then try doing some of that stuff.
Were you able to stick to your schedule? That is more important now.
No, it's very difficult to stick to the schedule. Just like yesterday, last night, I was watching one of the video series, and then what happens when you watch some of the video series, you watch it completely from the start to the end. So,
Yes, absolutely. Which one? Which one? Oh, were you watching on Netflix?
it was a boot video series. It was Asur,
Okay.
Arshad Varsi's video series. Quite interesting. Killing a series, serial killing kind of a thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds
Very
interesting. So are you working from home right now?
Yeah, I am working from home. So the biggest problem working from home is that I always keep going to my fridge, opening something, trying to find something to eat, and that's the reason why I've gained around.
Put on weight already. Yeah, okay, that's all right. I mean, that only means, you see, now what everybody is talking about, what will happen after the pandemic will be over, everything settled down. If nothing else, at least the gyms will do good business, right? So there's a lot of people subscribing after they've put on so much of weight.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so another of those questions, in the sense, like, so during all this journey that you have in terms of creating so much content, creating so much of video, what has struck most for you? As in, what has stood out? What has been something which has been more something which caught your attention throughout this journey?
YouTube thing is good, but the kind of messages that I see from people when they actually get it, when they get the PR, and when they say that, I've got tons of messages, I've got tons of screenshots of them, because people come to my Facebook group and then they thank you as well. Obviously, you have a bigger Facebook group, so they thank all of us, and it feels great when they say that because of you we got we got a PR. At least we helped somebody achieve their dreams. So that is something I never expected from people, and I am really thankful when I get such messages that people are finding my content useful. So that is something, pretty striking.
Okay, all right. I'm going to take one question. It's on the screen. Mr. Shoyab Ahmed says, "Hi, brothers. Can we discuss on how the life in Canada in summer season and in winter season? What's the difference? Businesses, jobs, hiring. You want to throw some light on that?"
Life, I would say,
Like, everybody looks forward to the summer, right? I mean, we're all waiting for the summer, and now that the summer is coming, we do not know whether we'll be actually be able to go out or not.
So the summer is basically the festive season here, I should say. We wait for every weekend to go to the beaches, to go out, and you see in Toronto, almost every weekend there's some kind of a carnival, some kind of a festival happening. It's wonderful in summers, and basically we get the summers only for around 2.5, 3 months. So it is most beneficial if you make use of those 3 months. Don't rest at home, go out. That's more better, because all of the winters you're going to rest at home. So yeah, talking of the difference, this is the basic difference. At times it gets very boring in winters. You don't have to do you can't go out, you can't do much about it. You can't see the sun after 4 p.m., 5 p.m. It gets very depressing at times. So yes, winter summers are always good. I've never enjoyed those summers in India that much that I value those summers here in Canada. So, yeah.
Okay, let's take another one of your. Oh, okay, Muzammil. I think he also is a moderator in one of your in your group.
Yes,
Right?
he is.
So it's obvious that we should take his question. He says, "Hi Sheetanshu, after your success with YouTube, did it ever cross your mind to change your career and be a full-time professional immigration consultant?"
It actually came up to my mind. Some people keep saying that you should, because not because of in my mind, because people keep saying it that he should do some kind of a consultancy, like you should be an authorized consultant and you can start your own consultancy because you've got a good following now in YouTube. People trust your word, so people would obviously come to you, and then. But I have never tried to do that. To be very frank, I'm not a immigration lawyer. I'm not a consultant from my heart. These things, YouTube gives me some joy, but immigration talks don't give me that much joy. Yeah, this is a very very frank statement, a very blunt statement. So that's why I never reply to any of the queries in my Facebook, and people get annoyed with it that you've created this group, but you never reply to those queries, because I know that there's a limit to what I can talk about immigration and stuff like that. So I will never do that. I don't think I will ever do that. Immigration stuff. I can't study now. It's very difficult to study.
Okay, let me take another one of these interesting questions. Ravi Teja says, "Hello, what would you both suggest to people who are planning to come to Canada, at least after this pandemic, either for studies or PR? Any important messages in this regard?" I'll let you go first. Sheetanshu, what do you think?
So I made a video just a couple of days back. I think it was just the day before yesterday when I uploaded this video.
Yeah.
That should you come to Canada in 2020 or not? So yes, this is a very serious topic. We know that how it is. It's going to be tough for everyone. Like talking of economic crisis, recession, 2008 recession. Like I've been watching like tons of news. Everybody does that. So the experts keep saying that 2008 recession was still better than what's going to be this year. So it's going to be worse this year, and we have seen that statistics. More than 1 million jobs officially lost already in March here in Canada. And then we keep hearing that thankfully, like companies like Air Canada, WestJet, they're hiring back those employees that they laid off because of the subsidy that the government is giving. But it would still be difficult for a lot of people. It's very difficult to say it at this moment, but still I can say that IT industry would be the one who would be the least affected by all of this, because we are still able to work from home. But yes, new projects coming into your companies, to your organizations, might be a difficulty. So I work in IT industry, and I work for one of the Indian IT giants, and it is a service-based company. So I work for a client here in Canada. So it might be difficult going further for IT people in this year at least. Next year, we don't know how it's going to happen. It all depends on our choices, as the government says. It all depends on our choices. How we actually, if we're keeping ourselves in our homes. Obviously, this pandemic will last a bit less than what is expected, and things will get to normal pretty soon.
Yeah.
What is your take on it?
Yeah, well, I absolutely resonate with that, and even actually we did a live stream, and we did as I keep saying, I hate doing videos. Rather, I would rather do live streams and just sort of talk off my head. And we did the same. We spoke about the same thing, and we actually made an appeal to people immediately after this. After the exemptions from the Canadian government were given for certain categories of people. A lot of people were anxious to come to Canada, right? Immediately after the Canadian government had announced that there were exemptions from the border closure restrictions, and a lot of people wanted to sort of jump onto the next flight and come to Canada. But the thing is that, okay, I absolutely understand. I absolutely can resonate with the fact that a lot of people have given up their jobs. They have
Very difficult situation.
yeah, so they have, so even if they're in their home countries, they've got their PR approval in hand. And let's say they were about to come to Canada, like they were about to come a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later. They'd already planned. The children had finished schools or were going to finish schools. They had already resigned from their jobs. They had given the notices for their wherever they were living, and now they were all packed up. Some of them might have even shipped out some of their belongings to Canada, assuming that they will be coming to Canada. Now, when this kind of restrictions happen and we start going and telling people or appealing to people that please don't come, please don't come, a lot of these people were getting upset, and they were saying that you don't understand. I do understand, and the reason I understand is my own son, okay, who actually got through the Alberta PNP, and he was also just about ready to get on board and come here. And even obviously, I mean, he'll pick up the phone and talk to me, and he's so frustrated that why should I stay back? Why can't I come and just start? I said, but you need to understand, even if you were to come to Canada, like very recently, Airbnb posted a notification from the Ontario government saying that the emergency also applied to Airbnb, and non-essential accommodation was not allowed anymore, even with Airbnb, right? So accommodation is going to be difficult. A lot of hosts were backing out. Job market has completely, drained out. For example, millions of people have filed for employment insurance and Canadian emergency response benefits. So many businesses have already gone out of business. So many are in the process of shutting down. Well, if nothing is going to happen, you can't really travel around the city. Even Uber is now scarce to sort of find. Service Canada is closed down. Okay, now that they have started their online SIN number process, but otherwise they were not operating. So it's so many problems, so many restrictions. What would you do even if you were to come here? All you would do is you would actually spend on your accommodation and your groceries and still not be able to do anything at all. So with that in mind, we had told people, or rather we were appealing to people, do not come at this point of time, because if you are back in your home country, regardless of the fact that you had given up your house or your rental or whatever, you are still among your family and friends. You are still in an area which is a comfort zone to you. It's a known area. You know your way around. Versus coming to Canada and coming into an uncertain area, uncertain territory, not knowing where to find what in this pandemic scenario. So that was one of the reasons we asked them to not to come in immediately. But go on.
Yeah, I would like to add something to it. Just think of it practically. All those people, when you come here. So I was, seeing one of the posts in the Facebook group. So I was just reading it. So it is very practical, actually. Okay, you come here. Let's say you come here in June. All those people who are planning to come here in June, now it's kind of official that the things will be locked down until June.
Yeah.
So if even things get better, people coming from abroad, do you think, okay, if you're living in India and somebody's coming from a US, would you give them your first floor to live over there? You would think that, okay, this person has come from outside, he's traveled a lot, and there are chances of this kind of a thing. Similarly, the Airbnb, people might hesitate to to rent out their Airbnb for people who are traveling for such a long distance. Apart from that, you have to self-isolate yourself for 14 days. How will you survive for the first 14 days without going to a grocery store, without buying milk, without buying coffee? All the major, you can't dine outside, right? You have to order something. It would be very difficult for the first 2 weeks, at least. Would be very difficult. So yes, it is advisable not to come at least until June, and then after June, let's see how the things unfold, and then take a decision. It is difficult for all of us, not just for any single one of us. So yeah.
Yeah, I would further add about the job market and students as well. Yesterday we had another of these live streaming sessions with international students who are currently in Canada, and we discussed about what kind of difficulties they were facing. Yes, there have been some colleges who have extended a lot of help to the students. I heard one college even gave out disbursements of $200 for each student to buy groceries, which I thought was pretty good. Then there were other colleges who have actually made some additional arrangements and to help the students by for their accommodation, even for them to travel back to their home country if they had to. So I thought that was pretty nice of some of the colleges. Obviously, then there were other colleges who basically just lifted their hands and said, okay, deal on your own kind of a thing. But yes, so if you're an international student who's currently stuck in Canada, obviously apply for deferment. I mean, apply for your intake to be deferred if you can. Otherwise, I think most of the colleges are already started their online classes. If you're an international student who's looking to come to Canada, and that is one of the things, you have to start thinking, first of all, is September intake going to happen or not? It may or may not happen. Again, we do not know the extent of this pandemic. We do not know how many students have been moved from the May intake to September intake. So for example, even if you have your letter of admission, even if you get your study permit approval, please check with the college if you still have a seat. Okay, because there is a good chance with all these deferments happening, with lots of students being moved from the May intake to the September intake, a lot of those courses are going to get full before you even know it. So think about how you can, move your plans around a bit. Maybe you could study for a year back in home country and then take a transfer, or even think about studying next year. So some of these things you need to keep in mind as far as jobs are concerned. I know it's a story everywhere across the world. It's just not in Canada. I mean, people are losing jobs everywhere across the world, even in India or Pakistan or the Middle East. It's the same scenario everywhere. So don't expect Canada to be any better at this point of time. If you're coming to Canada with the sole purpose of looking for a job, finding a job.
Oops, it seems Kuber got disconnected.
Okay, yeah, I sort of went off and on, and I'm back again. All right. So I mean, and even for example, I completely lost my chain of thought. So, but anyways, so for if you're looking for a job, okay. On the contrary, here's another thing. Most of the people who come to Canada, they're only thinking about getting a job. Have you ever tried your entrepreneur skills? Yeah. Have you ever thought of actually being a business owner? You see, when we say business, it does not always mean you have to invest a lot of money. Okay, it doesn't always mean that. You could bootstrap. You could think out of the box. You could think how you can work from home and provide essential services. You could basically come up with some innovative ideas for new kind of products, not only in Canada but anywhere in the world. So this is the time to sort of flex your mind and think of something totally different, besides just sticking with a job achievement, rather than just thinking about wanting to find a job. So maybe that will help you, open up your mind and do something different. Okay, and then I would take another question here. That's for you, Sheetanshu. I would like to know which place, in your opinion, would be a good one to settle down in Canada. Most of the PR holders prefer Toronto, Vancouver, and Alberta. Please suggest your opinion.
It depends on what kind of job you have. So I made a video, I remember, like it was like 1.5 years ago. That is how to choose a place where you need to go. So first of all, if you're landing here and let's say you're working with an employer who has got an office here, if you try that, you should get a job from that employer. Like I got my job. Then after that, and obviously your place will be decided automatically where the office is, right? If that is not the case, not everyone is that lucky. In that case, you should think that if let's say you're in IT, then which is the best place for you? Maybe Toronto, maybe you want to go to Vancouver. So it depends on your work. Where do you want to work? What kind of work? What kind of jobs are there? Maybe if you are in IT and you go to Nova Scotia, there are not many jobs of IT, like there's not many IT jobs over there. So that would be a problem. So you should think that where you want to settle. Obviously, Toronto is a hub of immigrants. I believe there are 50% immigrants over there, more than 50% now. And it is because of it is the land of opportunities. But at the same time, it is very difficult to get a house over there, to buy a home over there. It is a dream for everyone now. People like me who have just come in the last couple of years, house prices are there in couple of millions are there. So it's just not possible, like practically possible, if you don't have that kind of backup of like financial backup with you. like maybe 1 or 2 crores rupees with you in India, or maybe your parent who can support you, that kind of a money, it would be very difficult. So think of it, if you want to settle here permanently, maybe a place like where I live. Like I live in Waterloo, which is like 100 kilometers from Toronto, and which is like an hour drive. My sister lives in Toronto, and I keep going there. It's like less than an hour, probably 50-55 minutes if there's no traffic. But yes, think of it that way, that what kind of a place are you actually looking to buy a home, and would it be possible for you to buy a home in Toronto? If not, maybe you can go towards Milton or that kind of area. I'm not very sure if you're aware of the map of GTA, but you should think like that. And thinking not just Toronto, obviously you should think of Vancouver, Alberta. If you talk of Alberta, then obviously you should be aware that Alberta is much more colder than Toronto, and Vancouver is even better. So you should think of that. Will you be able to survive in that kind of a weather? It's like minus 30, minus 40 degrees in winters. It's in Alberta, in Calgary is normal. So we should be prepared for that if you want to go to Alberta. But yes, people have got,
Hold on that weather note. I would like to say something is that if you're in Toronto, we have the Great Lake. Okay, we have the Lake Ontario just close by, and there's a lot of moisture in the air, which sort of makes it much more colder here. So I mean, I'm sure you're already familiar with the feels-like factor, right? So even if it shows -10, it could very well be -20 with the feels-like factor, right? But with places like Calgary and Edmonton in Alberta, they are much more sunnier. So it could be a sunny day and it could be -30, but it won't feel as cold as you would feel at -10 in Toronto because of the wind chill factor and the moisture. So it sort of balances out. Yes, obviously it will snow more in Alberta. It will be colder in terms of the temperature degrees. The summers are going to be shorter. But at the same time, just going forward with what Sheetanshu was saying, my tongue sort of tends to. You have a very tongue twister kind of a name, Sheetanshu. If I was to say your name 10 times, I'm sure I might be start saying something else, right? So on that note, do you have a nickname or a shorter name? Because people tend to have those kind of things, right? And especially in Delhi, you're from Delhi, right? So people in Delhi have that, the Bablu, the Raju, the Chotu. So do you have one of those as well?
I have many names. Like my friends call with another name. There's one group of friends with call me with another name. So
you notice that he's not really telling you the name. He's just saying another name. He doesn't want to tell you what his name is. All right. So what I was trying to say is that a lot of people tend to concentrate on Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, and just these main urban cities. But the thing is with these cities is that just because these are very popular and they attract most of the new immigrant population, therefore there's a huge competition with the number of jobs that are available. The cost of living is higher. But if you were to spread out, if you were to go to slightly smaller, as we have in India, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, if you were to go to even tier 2 or tier 3 cities, you will realize the job competition is not as much as you would have it in Toronto and Vancouver. And the cost of living is also reduced, rather it's lesser. Definitely. So therefore you actually have a more benefit in spreading out and going outside Toronto, outside Vancouver, outside Montreal, and looking for jobs there. The chances are you will find jobs, because by and large in Canada there is a huge requirement. There is a shortage of skilled workers. There is no doubt about it. By and large, employers have been saying that they need more staff, they need more workers. But it's just that people want to concentrate on this few urban centers which are heavily populated, and that's where the problem is happening. Don't you agree with that?
I definitely agree, and that is the reason why government is actually coming up with all of these programs like AIPP and regional pilot programs, because of this is the main problem, that people actually come to these urban cities only and they settle down there. The density of population in these cities is actually increasing, but people are less inclined going towards these tier 2, tier 3 cities. But there are good chances of you getting a job over there. The cost of living is pretty low. So in Waterloo, the rents are pretty low as compared to Toronto. So these kind of things can happen, and obviously you should be quite open when you choose your city.
I agree. Now, the next question I'm taking is from Ankit Dham. He says, what kind of post-COVID strategies are companies adopting? I find it a bit contrary to what I would be thinking. But yeah, Shitanshu, go for it if you think you have an answer to this.
It's a difficult one. At this moment, people are just kind of trying to adapt with the current situations. People are just trying to, manage their work somehow, working from home. It is difficult working from home for all of us. Like for 1 or 2 days, it's still fine. But if you think of like let's say 3 months, it gets difficult. But post-COVID strategies, I would say companies would not give much of increments. You should just forget about it. If you have a job, you should be lucky to have a job. And I don't actually, I can't think of any post-COVID strategies. Maybe you can add in.
Well, I mean, I would say as of right now, everybody's firefighting. There is a huge fire. There is a huge fire in everybody's house, and people are just busy fighting that fire. People haven't really started thinking of what is going to happen after the fire. But I'm not saying nobody's thinking. Of course, there are lots and lots of sections and departments and various governments and various big organizations which are already being tasked with the strategies that they will adopt after the pandemic is over, and they're all working hard to figure out who will survive and who will sort of sink. But in the short duration of what I can imagine, what will happen is that the most companies are going to cut down on their spending completely. There will be lots of austerity measures which will come into place. So any kind of expenses that they can cut down on, they will. As Sheetanshu said, don't expect increments, promotions, and yes, there would definitely be some firing as well. But I read something this morning on Twitter, on somebody's Twitter feed, and it was very funny. And it says that during this pandemic, we have realized that 50% of the jobs can actually be done from home. You don't really need to go to work for that. And the other 50% are getting less amount of pay that they actually deserve. And that's why I would salute to all the frontline workers who are out there. And I'm sure Sheetanshu would agree as well, that those guys are the real heroes in today's time. And they've actually showed us in so many different stories, so many different ways, that these guys deserve much, much, much more than us just saying salute to them and thank yous to them. Because thank yous are eventually, yes, it helps them, motivate them, but eventually, these guys are really working hard, and no matter how you look at it, they're extremely underpaid. Okay, so this was one of the realizations that happens, is that such a critical job that these people do, whether it's the healthcare workers or the paramedics or the essential services, the fire services, even as of today, right now, grocery store workers who are busy filling out the shelves, who are stocking the shelves, who are sitting at the cash counters, they turn up for work every single day, in spite of the amount of risk that they face with all these kind of people who come. So I salute them and I thank them. And as far as the post-COVID strategies, I guess we will just wait and find out. As I said, austerity measures is something which everybody will be looking for.
Yeah.
Another question I'm taking, Sheetanshu, which was, I lost it. Okay, let me find it where it's gone.
Yeah, Kuber, unfortunately, my laptop battery is about to die.
Oh, all right. So he's basically saying he wants to run out.
I can connect back with my mobile.
No, it's not a problem, because I also have another appointment starting at 12, as I spoke to you yesterday and I told you. But anyways, this was really good. This was really a good session. I enjoyed it, guys. If you think this was of any interest to you, of any value to you, do comment on your individual channels comment boxes, so that we can know that if this was of any value. And if actually you thought this was interesting, we both will, or rather can, come back online maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, once in a month, and have a similar session, answer to some of your questions, and even have a bit of a banter here between me and him. What do you think, Sheetanshu?
Sure, we can definitely do that. I think from next time onwards, if we do that, maybe we should take more of the questions.
Yes, we should. No, we should definitely take more of the questions which are coming, and I am gonna quickly take one of this. Okay, Nazish, and the only reason why I'm taking this question is because I want to congratulate this person. And he says, sir, how is Saskatchewan to settle down, as I'm blessed with 2 daughters? So, first of all, congratulations on being blessed, that they are real blessings. I have 1 daughter, and Sheetanshu is on his way preparing for, I don't know, a son or a daughter to come soon. But no, it's an absolute blessing to have daughters. As I said, I have 1 daughter. I have 2 sons, and I keep telling them, the blessing only happened when the daughter happened. So apart from that, how is Saskatchewan to live? You see, okay, just like any other province in Canada, there is no there is no good or bad in any province, or rather there are similar number of good and bad in all provinces. Saskatchewan may not be as populated as Ontario is, or it may not be as sort of happening as British Columbia is, but it has its fair share of positives. I would give you my suggestions if I was living in Saskatchewan. I've traveled there, I have visited there, but I haven't lived there. And as they say, a perspective of a visitor is totally different than a perspective of a resident. So it would not be fair for me to give you a perspective of a resident in Saskatchewan. But if you were to research, I'm sure there are plenty of forums out there. That's just about it, guys. Thank you so much for having tuned in. Sheetanshu, thank you so much. Thank you for having joined in.
Thank you for having me.
And we will definitely do this again, guys. Do comment in your respective comment boxes so that we know if this was of any interest. And as I said, as Sheetanshu said, that next time when we come online again, we will take in more questions, and we will take in more specific questions instead of just he and I talking. So we'll do that next time. And so keep an eye out for the next time when it happens, probably in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. And definitely we should do that again. Sheetanshu, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kuber, for having me.
Thank you, everybody. And we will log out now. But as usual, before I go, I need to sort of do nothing. Okay, thank you very much. And do subscribe, do share, do like, do everything that everybody else says you should do. And until that time, wash your hands, keep yourself safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.